Hello, today I would like to talk about some resources that you can share with your students to teach them all about Juneteenth. And so I'm going to go over a couple of different options that you guys have, all using free resources. It's a really great way to be culturally responsive in your classroom, and we have so many resources, especially in the past few years, that have been coming up online that we can share with our students so that they can learn all about what Juneteenth is. So one of the things I really like to go over or work with in my classroom is Fresburg biographies and Fresburg cartoons. They're educational videos for students, and it's available on YouTube. You can subscribe to it. It's really awesome. Has a lot of really great resources, especially for Black History Month. There's a lot of biographies on a lot of important historical figures. So I really like this video in particular. They're short little comic type strip cartoons, so I find them really fun and engaging. So I'm going to play this video for you so you can go over it, see if you like it, and I hope you do. Definitely subscribe to it and follow along on YouTube because there's thousands of videos that they have and they're always very updated and very current. So here goes.
Hey, my name is Jeremiah, and right now I want to teach you a few fun facts about the celebration of an African American holiday called Juneteenth. Starting off, when you look at the history of the United States of America, it wasn't always pretty. That's because people in the United States used to use slaves as labor to build things. But that is where the celebration of Juneteenth comes into play because it celebrates the end of slavery with the Emancipation Proclamation being signed by President Abraham Lincoln on January 1st in 1863. What this did was it required those states that seceded from the Union, meaning leaving the Union during the Civil War, who held slaves to no longer hold their slaves. Now, even though Abraham Lincoln had signed the Emancipation Proclamation, there weren't a lot of Union soldiers there to enforce the law, and it took a long time for the last of the slaves to hear the news. Eventually the news got there, and that is why back on June 19th in 1865, the Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, landed at Galveston, Texas, where the news hit that they had been freed. After hearing the news, Juneteenth began to be celebrated in many different ways, from rodeos to fishing, barbecuing, baseball, dancing, music, and more. Another crazy thing about slavery back in the day was they didn't allow slaves to dress up and wear nice clothes. So, when the news of Juneteenth hit and they began to celebrate, it was always a big thing to go out and be your best dressed on Juneteenth holidays. Now, you heard me mention the word holiday, and actually in Texas, Juneteenth became an official state holiday through the efforts of a man named Al Edwards, an African American state legislator. Another interesting fact about Juneteenth is it is said that in Texas, when General Granger arrived, Texas still had over 250,000 slaves who had not heard the news that they had been freed. So I guarantee when they heard, it was a big party that day. Well, that is all from me here on Welcome to Fresburg with this.
So, like you can see, there are some very important historical facts in here. It's very short, so it's easy for a lot of our students to comprehend. And you can stop and talk about it, have them read it. As you can see, there's also a ton of different other options as you kind of scroll down here. There's different facts here. This is another Fresburg one that you can go through as well, right? So those are just some examples, but definitely check out Fresburg cartoons. They're educational videos. They're really fantastic. I also want to share with you another read aloud that I found on YouTube, and it's Juneteenth for Maisie. And there's a bunch of different options for the actual read aloud itself. This is one that I really particularly liked, so we'll share a little bit of it.
Grammarly is your personal writing assistant for clear emails, confident messages, stronger essays, and more.
Hello everyone, it's Jasmine Cornell, Miss Fayette County, Georgia, and I'm back again today with another book that teaches kids about Juneteenth. In Juneteenth for Maisie, Maisie gets ready to celebrate the day that freed enslaved African Americans. I hope that you learned something new from this book. Let's get started.
Juneteenth for Maisie, illustrated and written by Floyd Cooper. Maisie wants to play outside, but it is too late. It's getting dark, Maisie. It's time to stay inside.
So, like I said, YouTube has some really great read alouds. I particularly really liked this particular book. And something else I want to share with you guys is if you go on to Edpuzzle, they also have a read aloud here. But what's really nice is that you also can embed your multiple choice questions, right? So if we were to play through this or go into it, you will see here that there's questions that pop up. And and you can edit all these questions when you are on Edpuzzle. So it says, why do you think she looks grumpy? Is it because she's tired? Is she upset? And I really liked this particular, these questions that were given for this read aloud, because you can see here they had different icons that also support our alternately assessed learners. So I thought that that was a really great resource. And again, in Edpuzzle, you can go in and you can change the questions, right? You can go in and you're able to go and add in your own questions. You can make them multiple choice questions. You can make them open-ended questions, whatever you think would work best for your students, okay? So let's just refresh here. Looks like we got a little stuck. All right. And then you'll see like here where you can go in and you can edit. So if we were to go into edit mode, we can go through and here are all the questions that pop up throughout the video. With Edpuzzle, you can move these around. So if you wanted to start off by adding a question over here, you just go right over to questions, right? You can add a multiple choice question or an open-ended question. So for example, if you wanted to add in an open-ended, you can say, tell me what you already know about Juneteenth. Right, so you can add that right in. You'll see it'll pop right up, and that could be right at the very beginning, right? So you can start off with an open-ended question to kind of gauge what your students already know, what you want to talk about. If you've already talked about it, maybe you want to see what they remember, right? Activate some of that prior knowledge. So you'll see over here when you find one of the puzzles or one of the videos in Edpuzzle, you'll be able to check out all the questions that they already had, and you can see if that's appropriate for your classroom. So you can either go in and edit these questions or just like I did, create a multiple choice or an open-ended question. Another thing that you can do, particularly with Edpuzzle, which is nice so that you don't have to stop it when you're going through just a YouTube video, is you can stop it right in real time, right? So like when we are showing one of the videos that are also really great on YouTube, if we have those read alouds that we have access to, we kind of have to hit pause, right? So I really like that this just kind of does it straight through. So if you were going through and watching just the video itself, it automatically pauses for you, right? So that's a really great feature with Edpuzzle that you can access completely for free. And these notes are really nice too. So like it says here, you can add a comment. So if you want to give a definition of something, if you want to talk about a particular date, you can just go in and add those notes, and you can drag these around to move them if you add them in, if you notice like they're a place where you didn't like it, right? So you can definitely go in and do that. So here you'll see the one I just added popped up right here because I put it right at the beginning of the video. Tell me what you already know about Juneteenth. So you'll see the questions that were already embedded into the video is like the first one we saw, why do you think Maisie looks grumpy? What holiday do you think they are celebrating? Enslaved people got paid for the work that they did, and it was a multiple choice question. How do you think Grandpa Mose felt after hearing the proclamation? And after June 19th, Black people and other people of color could stop fight. So this was a question. Hold on, let me just show it to you so that we don't. So you'll see here, after June 19th, Black people and other people of color could stop fighting for the rights, yes or no. And you'll see that the little box here with the correct answer is highlighted by a green arrow, right? So when you have any of the questions, they pop up over here so you can go through. And again, I really liked this particular video for this read aloud because it had the icons to support our alternately assessed learners, right? Enslaved people got paid for the work they did, true or false. And again, it's indicated. So when you go in and add in your multiple choice questions, you just need to click on the little arrow here to make sure you're identifying which one is correct, right? And then this was another question that she had. And again, the icons I think are very helpful. What holiday do you think they are celebrating? Maisie's birthday or Juneteenth, right? So we have three options here, but still all icons. And I think that those are obviously very supportive for our alternately assessed learners, our AAC device learners, right? So we always want to make sure that we incorporate those things. We already looked at that one. So again, I think that this is a really great feature. It's a really great option for your students. It's very accessible. We can make it really engaging for our students to learn about history and things that are also really current right now and very important for us to talk about in the classroom with all of our students. So I hope that I gave you some good resources that you can utilize, and I hope that you can have fun with your students doing it.